There is no doubting the impact that small businesses have on our lives. And there's nothing that gets me more excited than sitting down face to face with the business owner and helping to empower them to bring their vision to life. Because at the end of the day, business is the art of creating opportunity. In this month's Business Spotlight, we traveled to Brooklyn, New York to meet with the founders of Hellman-Chang. Daniel Hellman and Eric Chang share their story of how following their passion took them from a garage hobby to building a globally recognized high-end furniture brand. Join me as we sit down in their Brooklyn studio and they share their story. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Power Players. This week, I am in the Hellman-Chang studio here in Brooklyn, New York, and I am honored to have our guests this week, Daniel Hellman and Eric Chang, the founders of Hellman-Chang. Thank you guys so much for taking a couple minutes for us. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We're excited too.
So for our viewers who may not be aware of Hellman-Chang, one of you guys give us a little background. What is Hellman-Chang?
A national distributed high-end furniture line, more kind of bespoke, made to order, sold through 13 interior designer showrooms around the country.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. And you know, we'll be showing some of this and we're going to talk with you guys about that too. But so what was the series of events that led to, okay, let's start actually selling something?
Well, so Eric and I, we've known each other since we're around 10 years old actually, so lifelong friends. And we discovered that we kind of had a shared passion of design and woodworking and started making furniture in my parents' garage. That was kind of the beginning of it all, of just a passion about it that we shared. After both Eric and I graduated from undergraduate school, we found a co-op wood shop in Brooklyn to kind of just get the hobby back under our, in our hands, doing stuff nights and weekends.
And at that point, it was still just like, hey, it's
just a hobby,
just having fun, man. Remember back when we had it?
Right. It was not, here's a business plan, let's go find a wood shop.
Right. No, we were just reminiscing about how we had a great time building furniture in the summers.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a vision or goal. We were just building furniture. It was like building a coffee table here, a bedside table there.
We both had day jobs.
Yeah.
So this was really just a continuation of the hobby, but very quickly, because it's New York, it started adding up. It was pricey.
Like if we were going to keep doing this passion, this little weekend warrior thing, we had to pay for it. It was just way too expensive.
It made sense to do that.
Right. And in concert with that, both Eric and I have been business-minded and wanted to own something and do something with our lives, and so it was a common passion. So I think it just, without like a moment of going, wait a second, we should start a business together, it kind of quickly turned into that, just organically.
And at that point, had you guys quit your jobs?
No.
So when did that? Because I hear that a lot too.
Right.
It's like this mysterious thing. Jason, I actually have a good job. I'm like, okay, well that's a delicate balance. So when for you guys did that switch make?
I can say that what was actually nice about having two of us was that we didn't have to do it at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If I could sum up the moment to quit, is like when we really had a strong indication that we were going to have some sales.
Yeah.
We need sales.
Yeah. On a whim, we submitted our Z pedestal to Interdesign Magazine's Best of Year Awards, and not realizing the scope of what it was. And a couple months later, they called us and said, okay, well, you should come to the award ceremony. You're nominated as a finalist, and it was at the Guggenheim Museum. It was a big thing. And sure enough, we won our category. And we were 24 years old at the time. And the piece got published. And the week after it got published, the designer for the Four Seasons Hotel called us and said, hey, we're designing the new Four Seasons Seattle. We love this piece. Can you redesign it as a restaurant bar table? We need 15. And that became my very first client.
So that was maybe, I'm sure we can, let's see.
That I think proved proof of concept.
Yeah, that was the break. That was the break.
Yeah. And we said, okay, you know what? We could probably actually pursue this. We have a very recognizable high-end paying client, and we have a product that we designed, and we have a place to make it. Let's try. Let's go for it.
Yeah, because in my mind, it boils down to sales and marketing to start. They came out to our co-op wood shop where we were in that 5x10, And we
trying to convince
everyone
them.
else. We said, hey, you just put your head down. You know, they're coming out to check our operation. It was a 10,000 square foot shop.
Right.
So we postured as it was ours.
Without saying.
We later told them this at a dinner with them, like 2 years, and they laughed over it. You know, but we were like, oh my god, like we get to look like we have to match what we showed at the trade show.
Early on, that term, fake it till you make it, it's kind of true. But you really have to envision yourself where you want to be and perform, act, and do at that level.
And my favorite saying to talk about, even with things like weekly production, are we going to make it this week, is if you don't think you will win, you will lose. Yeah. You know, it's like they use that in sports all the time. It's a great little one-liner to just go, oh, yeah, of course. If you don't think you're as big as you want to be, you're not going to get there.
I think, though, the defining moment was, let's think of a brand. Let's think of like an aesthetic. If we were really going to pursue this, what would this look like? Okay. So we spent time developing certain designs, maybe creating a design identity, with a small collection of pieces.
That's unbelievable. And even now today, I mean, your branding is so on point. Talk us through just a little bit about current marketing, branding efforts, just for those that are taking a look, because it's pretty unique.
Right,
it's not like every other luxury brand. That, the same thing they do.
Look, we're making the finest products in the world. The best designed, the best made products in the world. But this industry thus far hasn't done a very good job of marketing that. You open up a design magazine and you see the same types of ads over and over and over. And we saw within that an opportunity to tell our story in a very strong image. And that's where the concept came from. It's probably the only furniture ad campaign out there that doesn't show furniture. But as a small business, you only have so much in resources. You only have so many dollars you can spend on stuff like this. So you have to make the biggest impact with the least amount of money possible. And so we create something that was very recognizable, that could get our name out there and remembered, and drive a stake in the ground and say, okay, this is what our brand represents. This is what we're all about. This is going to be really refined, really, really sophisticated, attention to detail. These two guys really care about what they're making. And it says that all in one picture.
Yeah. They take that kind of care in their own presentation while running the table saw.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the motion with it, with the sawdust. I mean, I challenge you guys, go check out some of these ads and comment below. Like, let us know what you guys think about it. And I geeked out over it because as a marketing guy, I'm like, oh, this is so perfect.
Right.
Do it different, still tell a story, be captivating.
Right. There's a little tongue in cheek, and there was a little bit of humor behind that too.
I love it.
Yeah, the emotions are very strong in that.
Was there any one scariest moment early on?
Well, this is fast forwarding a bit to our getting into showrooms, getting sales channels set up, getting orders in, getting excited, making things, hiring people, our first employees, and then financial downturn, got to lay everyone off. That was the scariest moment of just like, oh my God.
The good thing is, it's because we were so lean that we were able to sustain ourselves. But we did a temporary layoff.
I was going to say, because we actually did bring some of those of our
within
that came back.
2 to 3 weeks.
But it was a scary, because you don't know until you look back. And, we got through it. That was a scary moment.
You have no idea.
For sure.
Right. Where we stood as a brand was perfectly positioned in that time to grow very quickly. So we actually grew during that recession period, because there was a strong change in consumer culture. And so all the things that our brand represented, these, two young guys, homegrown in America, building things by hand with master craftsmen, very unique designs, representing the best in American craftsmanship, all those things, which were very authentic to us, was exactly what the consumers now wanted.
Right.
What an unbelievable startup journey. From a small rented studio, to faking it before you make it, to surviving an economic downturn, and now thriving and even providing resources to the next generation of designers. For sure, Daniel and Eric have seen their fair share of entrepreneurial hurdles.
For people looking to get into the business or into the space, what do you think is the biggest misconception? What do you think is the biggest surprise that they're probably not thinking about?
Right. I think, look, in terms of selling your product, let's say you're passionate about making leather wallets. I don't think people realize the true costs of that handmade manufacturing and what it really means. You may say, okay, I'm gonna create this beautiful leather wallet. Maybe I gotta sell it for like $150 and I can really start selling a lot of these. Okay, well, at that price point, how many are you gonna sell? That's a pretty good price point. Yeah, for a handmade leather wallet, $150, that sounds like a great deal to me. Let's do it, right? Let's say you start getting demand. Are you gonna be the one making all of those wallets by hand? And if you are you actually making money off $150 a wallet? Because you may have to give $75 to the store that distributes you. What are your true costs? Are you profitable? Can you scale at that profitability? What if you realize, you know what, each wallet, by the way I'm making, it's gotta be $450. Well, now you're talking to a completely different customer. And completely different brand, message, distribution network. How will you completely reinvent your brand for a client that's going to pay $450? But then does that mean I got to get myself into Neiman Marcus? How do I even enter into that? How am I going to get a meeting with them?
And that's what's so interesting about y'all's story is you guys set off to build the best product, or that's like what you guys were doing, and then you figure out what the cost around that is. Where I think some people get into business, they're aware of other accepted things. They're like, oh, that is a $150 wallet, so I need to make mine, and it needs to be $150, rather than saying, if I put all I've got into something, what is that worth?
Right. I remember having a lot of conversations early on about, it's always easier to drop down and sell more mass market than it is to climb up.
Yeah. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. And so in doing that, I honestly think it was easier for us than trying to say, we want to go compete with Crate and Barrel. Because to be at that scale, you need so much more money.
Yeah. So it's also interesting, you always hear about partnerships being difficult. And obviously you guys have kind of stood the test of time up to this point. You're at, what, 10 years or so?
Yeah.
What's been the secret there? Like, how have you guys been able to pull that off? Because it seems like that'd be tough.
A lot of people say, like, you never want to work with family and you never want to work with friends. Because business and
that's true. Yeah,
they don't mix. They don't mix because if you have a business conflict, you can't let it get personal. And if you have a personal conflict, you can't let it affect your business.
Right.
And so those things, it's oil and water. You don't want to put those together. What's benefited us is that Dan and I are polar opposites in terms of our skill sets and what we bring to the table.
Right.
And so there is very, very little conflict in the daily tasks that we do, where there's not too many cooks in the kitchen.
And I think more importantly, we individually understand that. So it's not even that the skill sets are there, but it's like we understand what the other brings to the table.
Right. So we kind of have been able to reap the best of both worlds in this partnership, which is very rare. Right? I think with the way social media has been, it's never been more of a democratic time to be able to start your own business. You can control your marketing message. You can scale your marketing so quickly and so widely. That is an amazing, amazing thing. And so, yeah, everyone is getting excited about it. Everyone's kind of coming out of the woodwork, so to say. But, you got to understand, at the end of the day, yeah, you are running a business.
To take that leap of faith and to try something new, to go for your passion, can probably get you so far. But there is that flip. I put on my HR hat every other day. I put on this accounting hat. All these different things just to keep it all going.
Probably the most challenging thing for any small business is finding the right employees. Not just the skill set
and culture.
Exactly. Culture is just as important as skill set. When you don't have those two hand in hand, it's like having a bad business partner.
And when you're young, you're usually tied by budget also.
Right.
So we had a lot of turnover.
We want to get the best. Yep. Oh, wait, we can't afford the best.
Whenever you're going to really enter into a business venture, you can't half-ass it. You have to kind of go all in, or it's got to look like you're all in.
Sure.
Owning your business is a series of big risks. You take risks all the time. But I think the difference with us is we take very calculated risks. We got to forecast 6 months, a year out. Okay, what does that mean we have to do now to make it work? But then whenever you go and you take that leap of faith, you got to act like it's going to be 100% success. Right. That self-fulfilling destiny is so true in this industry, especially when you're talking about a high-end luxury brand. You got to walk the walk.
Absolute confidence. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, from where you were to where you guys are now, the success that you guys are enjoying, what does the future hold for Hellman-Chang?
Our mission as a company was and is still to prove to the international design community that the best made furniture in the world and the best designed furniture in the world, it doesn't have to come from Italy, it doesn't have to come from France, it can come from America. It can come from Brooklyn, New York. And that is
from Brooklyn.
Yeah, and that was always how we postured the brand. And
right. So, well, I know we're just scratching the surface, and we could, I could tie up you guys for an entire day, I'm sure. But I value your time. I know our viewers are going to get a lot out of this stuff. If you guys are watching, I encourage you to comment below if you've got questions or just want some more detail about what we're talking about. Drop a note below. We'll do our best to get back in touch with you guys. But Daniel, Eric, thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I have to admit that when I first learned about Hellman-Chang, I was confused as to why they would stay in Brooklyn after seeing some success. But after visiting and experiencing the energy and vibe firsthand, I can see why there's no better place for Hellman-Chang. The creativity, the passion, the culture in that city is unbelievable. And I know that it's a big part of why Daniel and Eric have been able to succeed where so many others have failed. I thank them greatly for their time, and I hope you all enjoyed it.